Hi, my name's Jim Wilson. I'm AgGateway's Standards Director, and I'm also the SPADE Project Manager. The SPADE project started in August of last year. SPADE stands for Standardized Precision Agriculture Data Exchange. We wrapped up the first phase of this project in AgGateway. The first phase focused on the seeding use case, and in that we had three areas in which we did our work. One was around documenting use cases, which is basically telling the story of seeding. And it addressed how data flows between farm management information systems among growers, their trusted advisors, and then from a grower's farm management information systems to equipment and back. And in that discussion, there were a lot of terminology points that needed to be addressed, and the group did a great job of defining their terms and coming to agreement on how they would talk about these stories. And so from there, those requirements identified a number of points where, again, where data flowed between farm management information systems and trusted advisors and machinery. And a second group took those requirements and then compared those against the ISO spec, ISO 11783, and did a gap analysis, documented what the gaps were and what AgGateway's recommendations would be to the ISO group. And we submitted those recommendations to ISO, and ISO welcomed them and agreed to work with us through the delegates that we have in common between ISO and AgGateway. And then another working group worked on reference data. And so reference data is all the data that's needed to populate a system, a farm management information system, to make it work. And we had a wide variety of people participating: engineers, finance people, marketing, and a wide range of companies involved, from equipment manufacturers to precision agriculture solution providers to dealers, and even growers had a voice in the process. It's interesting, the role of dealers and growers, in that everybody has their own particular view of how these various processes in agriculture work, and of course the purpose of the project is to enable interoperability. And the role of growers and dealers was sort of to serve as a shock absorber in the discussion, so they would help us say, hey, you're not really thinking this through all the way. It's a little more complex than what you're talking about. Or at times they would even say, no, you're making this too hard. It's not quite that complicated. And so it was a really interesting experience. I think one of the great achievements of the project was to pull this diverse group of participants together and get them talking, get them on the same page, agreeing on their terms and agreeing on the story, and then moving forward with how to make the technology work. I think that the role they're playing is perfectly suited for the discussion. I mean, if you have the people building the technologies, and you have the people who are working to integrate these technologies, as long as dealers and growers have a voice in sort of keeping it real, telling us what does it take to make this stuff work, what really works in the field. It's one thing to say this works in the lab, or this works in theory, or or this works on my computer. That's very different from does it work in the field. So I think that role for the growers is very powerful, and I suppose they're welcome, as any project participant is welcome, to participate in any aspect of the project they want to. From a marketing and communications team all the way down to groups that are have more of an engineering focus, although we don't get into a lot of engineering in this group. It's more about data structures and processes and things like that.